Happy Friday! We survived. Just barely, but we survived. And want to say, hey, glad you guys could join us today. And it's definitely been a challenging week. I know a lot of people have been sick. We weren't here last week because of holidays, and I was sick on top of it. So, yeah, I've been going through withdrawals. So I want to say hey to everybody who joined us tonight. We got Wild Angel. Yeah, it's almost party time. That's right. Chrome, woohoo! I feel you, brother. And BTK, my man, says, yeah, boy, ready to rock. So, gonna start today's show a little bit different. Now, as you guys know, if you read the announcements, we do have a surprise guest. And I will bring her up in just a few minutes, along with the rest of the gang, and we're gonna have a ball. But also, I found out some information today I want to share with all of you guys. And you know what? I want to take a minute to start this party with a little bit of serious message, okay? Heart goes out to one of our community members who has been with us in the DeFi space, and you may not have known it, but he's very much been out there and supporting a lot of places, and that's Mojo Underinvested. And sadly, he lost a battle to mental health issues. I don't know the details, but it is one of those where it was a community member, and sadly, they are no longer with us today. And so, I wanted to start this show off with a reminder that nobody's alone. And that me, of all people, I probably relate to most mental issues, problems, depressions, addictions than most people. As many of you have known throughout my shows, things like that, I've talked about that I do have an autistic stunt. I am high-functioning autistic. I am an addict, and I always will be. Recovered, been clean for years. But it's a battle I fight with every day. And I think everybody fights with a battle of some sort. We all have our demons. And sometimes we feel very much alone. So I want to let you guys know, nobody out there is alone. If you ever need to talk, if you ever need somebody just to listen to, not judge, not say, oh, well, you should do this, or you should do this. No. Somebody who's been in the darkest parts of their life and have been able to crawl back out, hey, shoot me a DM. I'm always here for you. And as many of you guys know, the music that I listen to and that inspires me is things like Shinedown, because they do donate to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Sorry, getting choked up. Eric Bass, your bass player, is diagnosed with chronic depression. Another one is Godsmack. Once again, Scars Foundation. So these are all bands that have songs that inspire me, help me through dark times. And you know what? I want to help you guys. So if you ever think you're alone, I promise you, you're not. If you ever need someone to talk to, I'm always here. And I know many of the content creators, many people in the community fight with these kind of battles every day. You know what? We're always here. Another band I'd recommend is Citizen Soldier. Another one that has a great amount of music that talks about the hard times and getting through it. So as depressing as this might sound, I want it to be hopeful, because I think a lot of us fight with that concept that we're alone in this world and that we're fighting uphill and there's no one on our side. You know what? I may not always agree with your decisions, but I'm always on your side to make your life better. And if that's just sitting and listening, can't always help. I can't do a lot of things. What I can do is tell you you're not alone. So please never feel like you are. And our heart goes out to Mojo Underinvested. And sorry he lost his battle. I wish he would have reached out. I would have been here. And I know Alex and I know Austin would have been there. But we're always here for you, and no one is alone in this world. So please never think so. Without further ado, we're going to start the party. But even in the party times, remember, we still fight our battles inside, so you're not alone there too. So I know it starts off a little bit weird, but I wanted to put that reminder out there because I think it's really important for people to know. Because even though we always have fun, we choose to have fun. Just like when my children go to work every day, I say, you know what, make it a great day. And my middle son, he washes dishes for a living. So how much fun can you have there? Well, I believe it's all about your mental state. Can you make it fun? I think there's always a way to do it. We don't always want to work, but you know what? Sometimes we have to. But if we can have fun while doing it, it makes a whole lot less like work. So without further ado, let's see who we have hiding backstage tonight. Let's start bringing the gang up, see who we got. So, Crow, my man, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Doing good, buddy. Doing good.
Sweet.
So, oh man, we're filling up backstage. Let's bring up our next contestant, the one and only BTK. How you doing, BTK?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Living the dream, my man. Living the dream. How about yourself?
I guess I'm doing the same thing.
Hey, we woke up above the dirt, man. That's a win right there in my book.
Yeah, heavy topic, man.
It is. And you know, it's something we're going to discuss, but I wanted to start that off right off the bat and let people know that, hey, they're not alone in this world. Speaking of not alone, we got another guy heading backstage, the master of disaster, Mr. Cyril here. How you doing, brother? You're muted. Oh.
What's up?
There you go.
Take two.
Take two.
Howdy.
Yes. Now the gang is here. So, guys, you know, this is one of those that I didn't realize about. And I didn't know that we had lost a member of our community. And it's sad to see. And I want to take a minute to let everybody know, hey, you're not alone. We all go through hard times. I know each of us, I've talked to every one of you, one-on-one, privately, different places. And I think we're all fighting our own battles. And I think people forget to see that and they don't realize that. They think, oh, we're always just having fun. Sadly, that's not the case.
Very true. Very true.
So, yeah, if anybody out there ever needs someone to talk to, you know, reach out to me. Reach out to anybody here on the screen. I guarantee one of us can relate, and we've probably been in a similar situation.
Reach out to him.
So, wife went out and got me a new shirt just for my shows and stuff. And so this is how I've been feeling over the last week with being sick is, you dropped this? Yeah. That's kind of the message of the day. Because for about the last week, I've had no brain.
Yeah, my brain has kind of vacated lately as well. You know, just a lot of... Because here's the thing, you only have a certain amount of decisions that your brain can make each day. That's why some of the habits of the successful people is to reduce the amount of decisions they make, right?
Right.
That's why they always dress in the same clothes, etc. So, you know, when there's a lot of heavy decisions that you're making, it tends to... Your brain's not there for anything else.
Right, exactly. And
By the end of the week.
yeah, by the end of the week, I've made all the hard decisions. That's it. Screw it. I'm done, man.
By
Take
the
my
end of the
brain
week,
out.
it's like, what do you want for dinner? I don't care.
Food. Something I can shove in my face hole.
Exactly. If I can chew it, swallow it, I'm good. I could care less.
There we go. We already started with food.
Yeah, here we go.
God
So,
damn it.
and Chrome says, real shit, Serenity. I hope you're doing well, my man. I am doing well. Thank you, buddy. And it is real shit, but you know what? It's real shit that people deal with. And, you know, a lot of times within, you know, the, not just crypto world, but social media, a lot of people avoid these topics. They're like, no, we don't want to talk about that. Oh my God, that's taboo. We want to talk about falling down stairs and how funny that is. That's great unless your person fell down the stairs. So, I mean, it's one of those things we've got to realize. And I think it's important to address things like that. Do we have to bring it down? No, we don't. The biggest thing is not only have we gone through it or fighting the battles today, but we're up here having fun doing so because we choose to do so. And that's the most important thing is it's all about your desire to live a better life. And sometimes that's just choosing to see the silver lining when it's a black night and stormy and horrible. There's always some good somewhere. Not always easy to see, but it does exist.
I like
So,
that.
thank you.
As
Rose
far
says,
as
never
music like
fails.
that too, it might not be everyone's style, and it wasn't mine for a long time. I actually hated it, but the Grateful Dead, I've kind of,
Yeah.
you know, if you read a lot of their lyrics and things, and again, the music might not appeal to you, but if you start listening to it, like, you know, an entire Grateful Dead set from like the 80s or the 70s when they're in full swing, and just like their lyrics and stuff, like they're just kind of a group who they got it, they knew about it, you know, but they weren't trying to really, you know, do that much. They were just there, you know, like they got it, you know.
Yeah, and I was thinking their song, I don't know the title of it, but it says, I Will Survive. And I remember the music video. It shows everybody as skeletons.
Oh, that was, yeah, they had a lot of the dancing skeletons, the dancing bears, you know, a lot of their stuff, the turtle, but you know, I don't know. There's a ton of people who find a lot of joy in the Dead and the music they made. And so even if you just want to read the lyrics, that some of them, you know, I can relate heavily to.
No, I totally agree. And I know somebody else that can relate to that. And so I think we'll bring our special guest up. Obviously, you guys know who that is. And
Yeah.
Ooh,
you guys can't see backstage, can you?
no.
Oh, I thought you could.
You always
No,
forget.
we can't see when there's people backstage. I got no idea who you're talking about.
Oh, damn. Oh, this will be fun. Any
I'm gonna
guesses?
be irritated if it's someone dumb, just so you know,
Whoa!
because you just hyped it up.
Well, I don't think she's dumb, but
I'm kidding.
you might disagree.
Yeah,
but
this better be good, Serenity.
Yeah.
you think? How about my ultimate boss, one in charge of everything that I do?
Your mom?
Close. My wife. Welcome on, Angel.
She's got
You
herself
gotta do-
muted.
Oh, she's a new kid.
Sorry. Hi. Take two.
Howdy.
Take two. So
How's it
yes,
going?
It's going well. Other than Serenity shared.
What did you share?
He's been sick. He shared.
Oh. Well, I mean, that kind of happens when you live in the same house. Like, by the time everyone finally gets hit with it, the first one's better and gets hit with it again.
It's coming around. It will get him again.
yeah, it will. It'll get me again. But yeah, I thought it'd be kind of fun to bring Wild Angel on, and add to the crowd, have some fun, and let's see where we go tonight.
Cool. I know Billy and I were having a chat because we came across the freaking Cybertruck. They have an attachment for it that is really wild. It basically it makes it look better, in my opinion, but it adds like a cab on the back. And that cab, you can have this bed inside of it. It's actually dual level. So you have a bed, and then the top of it is like solar panels. It has it's everything and the kitchen sink. It's literally a mobile apartment.
Oh wow!
Cool.
I would imagine that like the stuff is really cool. Like they created their own grade of steel or something that for the Cybertruck, like stuff like that. Like if they're doing things like that, I'm sure like solar panels are really good. Like I don't know, but it costs as much as a house.
Oh,
I mean, I
Jesus.
think the only people considering this, and granted, I want one too, would be like, oh, honey, like, do you want to get that lake house this year? It's like, oh, no, like, let's get a Cybertruck instead of be a little more
Yeah.
generous. Like, that's basically it. But, I mean, dude, look at that.
That looks really cool.
That
There's
does.
huge solar panels on the top, too, which is, like, the coolest thing for me. That makes it, like, really doable.
Yep, comes with like this home theater attachment system as well, where like the bed actually the surface that the mattress sits on can separate out and be held up magnetically to the back of the camper, and now it's a TV. Like it's wild.
Oh, that's crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
the thing looks like Starship Troopers or something going wrong right off the bat. But yeah, it just gets crazier.
I feel like it needs
totally-
a gun turret in the back, and that's my warthog from Halo. You know?
Oh hell yeah!
Batmobile, man.
Go totally off grid with that thing.
There you go.
And they did such a good job of marketing it because they had their Tesla bots, like the humanoid robots,
Right.
hand each other the Tommy guns and just unload on the car with like 100 rounds, and not a single one of them penetrated. I'm like, I'm sorry, but that's how you market something. You have your robots blow it up.
Also, dude, the Porsche. Tell them about the freaking Porsche. The late model, like 23 Porsche that they did a quarter-mile drag race with. The truck won, but the thing is, the truck was also hauling the same Porsche that it was racing on a trailer while it beat it in a quarter-mile race.
Disrespect.
Yeah. Dude, Elon,
That's just
like,
insulting. Oh my god.
no.
Yep, and it's like Porsche's like GT crazy, like this is their supercar, you know, that's what it beat in the quarter mile while hauling another one.
The 23, like late model, like Porsche supercar.
Yo,
It? Oh, it is. Okay, I found the video. Okay. Hold on. Pause this. Let me. Did I share audio?
probably not, you never do.
Hey, it sure loads at home, man.
That's what I'm here for.
I feel the love, brother. I feel the love. Okay, share
That's
audio.
called
And text.
congestion.
Hey, I like it. I can deal with it. Okay, here we go. So let's go full screen. Okay.
You know what I don't hear?
Audio.
Audio.
It says I'm sharing audio. Are you serious?
Yeah, but are you sharing from the window within the window in the other window of that window?
That's all right. We don't need audio for it. You can still see it.
Okay, I can hear it just fine.
Well, I'm glad you can.
But yeah, so well, I guess we kind of ruined it, but like, all right. Wow, that's cool. But wait, what's that? OMG.
Go truck, go.
Dude, under 11-second quarter mile, 2.6 seconds 0 to 60 with the trailer.
Yeah,
Right.
while it's hauling another car.
That is epic. See, that's a good commercial. I like that. It's like, not only
Right?
am I going to whoop your ass, I'm going to do it dragging your twin sister behind me. Hell yeah.
like that's a truck that I could get behind and probably would because I'm not as fast.
Right. And see, I remember the commercial, hey, Britt, how you doing there? Britt is my niece. Brittany, good to have you here, dear. I think that's Brittany. Hey, Britt.
It's Brittany, bitch.
Britt Cherie. Oh, is that a different one? Okay, fair enough. See, my niece's name is Brittany, and brother always calls her Brittany Cherie. And it's like, okay, so I thought it was Britt. So okay, different one. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you with us.
No, it's not a different one.
Oh,
It's
it is.
not.
It really is Britt. Brittany. Ah, hi, Britt.
And Rose just got deja vu over this scene.
Why?
I don't know. She says, didn't they do this before on a different stream? So I don't know.
Maybe.
But maybe somebody just got bumped.
That's exactly what I was just thinking.
What happened?
Who
Could
bumped?
be. Oh, but here we go. We're on the bump thing. So, yes, that is Britt. That is my niece. Welcome, Britt. And Britt, if you would like to join us up here, you have your camera set up. Let me know. I will shoot you a backstage pass. Jump up here with the rest of us and let's have some fun.
Oh, Crow. Guess what?
What?
So apparently, remember when we were talking about like we had a theory about getting bumped each time you die?
Yeah.
Apparently, that's an actual like legitimate scientific theory. It's called quantum immortality. You can
Right.
Google it. And because it's quantum immortality, it's also when it's written out, they write it quantum immortality / suicide. Because quantum is either or at the same time until it's observed, right? So we're quantumly in that state of, both self-destruction and immortality because of the duality of the quantum mechanics of it.
Oh God. Now I got homework to do.
Yeah.
Oh, is this the one?
It's freaking awesome.
Oh, this is the one. Okay. Yes, I will share the audio this time. Okay. I'll try and share the audio this time. Fortunately, I'm doing chemical conversions at the moment. Damn. See, my nieces and nephews, they're smart people, not me. Yeah, Brandon's a doctor. Britt is, what is Britt doing? I know she's going to college for something.
Chemical conversions, apparently.
Apparently, yeah. I thought it was psychiatry. Yeah, I'm the dumb one of the family, obviously. I'm just an electrician. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, there are chemical conversions in psychiatry, though,
Oh,
because you have precursors, and then those precursors change into other chemicals, and she's studying to be a doctor.
a doctor. Yes. So, yes, my nieces and nephews are much smarter than I am. Don't ask me where they get it because I know their dad. He's not that smart either. So.
I'm telling.
Okay, that's fine. He would totally agree with you. It's got to get it from the mom side because, yeah, Sherry is very smart. Okay, so I did find the robot one. I want to share the screen here because, yeah, this is going to audio share system audio. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, it's
But
cool.
I think it's good. Now, this is only in a short, right? There's not like a full screen
Yeah.
version of this?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
just a TikTok short or
Okay.
Twitter short.
Go full screen on that. Well, kind of does. Let's see what happens.
Yeehaw. Your weapon, sir. Thank you, Stewart. Fire in the hole.
Wait for it. Oh, there he is.
I'm alive. Awesome. Way to
Awesome.
go.
Sweet.
We did it, Stewart.
It's
I love
freaking
the
great.
Tesla robots.
That is awesome. See, that is a hell of a commercial right there. Whoever thought that one up?
That's how you market your Cybertruck.
Yeah, there's so
Right.
much cool Cybertruck marketing. Like, you just built a bunch of cool stuff. It's like, oh yeah, look at this.
Doesn't it, like, when you brake, it, like, uses the kinetic energy from braking to charge the battery?
Yeah, most EVs do.
It's freaking...
That's like a
That's
setting.
wild.
I always thought that they should make some kind of alternator that basically robs a little bit of momentum from the wheel, like have magnets inside the wheel, and then have like the alternator coil like hovering around the axle, or have magnets on the axle or something. And they do have some systems like that, axle-driven alternators. So it was good to know that, you know, I wasn't off on some crazy idea that wouldn't work in practicality.
No, exactly, and they do. It's pretty impressive. And so Brittany says, "No, she's not. She's laughing." I'm telling Mom she's gonna hurt you. You'll be listening. She says, "Okay, good.
Oh.
Yeah, we're having fun." And is it
They're
real?
all-
Yes, it is real. And
They're
if
all
you think
axle driven, but anyway.
we're gonna get back to that, so
Very
on that
small
now,
building
if you
point.
think about it, Sarah, what you were saying on the commercial, how brilliant that is. Now think about it. There's a lot of pieces to this. Looking, from a video aspect, you got a robot driving a car in right off the bat. So not only do you have a car that's self-driving, now you have a robot that can also drive the car. So when they break into robotics, they're like, "Oh yeah, I remember that robot. It was doing this." Then you've got these robots that can actually operate mechanical guns, weapons, things like that. So they can handle that. They showed politeness. They showed personality. Not a very good one, but at least they had one. Sense of humor with the hat. When you start putting all these little pieces together, man, that's freaking genius all the way around.
Right, because they got to essentially market to the medical industry, right? You know, like personal chauffeurs for the elderly, like that kind of thing, right? They got to market to the military, like these things can aim and fire a weapon. You know, they got to market to, you know, just personal companion or butler style robotics. So it was a great freaking ad, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's got so many pieces to it. Absolutely ingenious. I love it. So on the now let's go back to the driveline driven alternators. So one thing I've been looking at, and I don't know if you guys have looked these up or not. There's several people who have made these redneck generators basically, and are using a small electric motor to drive another motor, belt driven, that they reverse the magnets in it to create energy. Where literally you pull start one motor, it builds up enough friction to get the other one going, which generates power that feeds the first one, as well as other appliances. You guys check those out at all?
No.
Sounds kind of hoaxy to me.
It's pretty interesting. I don't think it's set up enough to where you can actually modulate the voltage or anything like that. But I've seen several videos on YouTube, things like that, where they actually go through the process of doing all this, and then they plug in a drill after they get set up outside. They plug in a drill to it. They run the drill plus itself. Like, man, that's pretty wild.
So have you seen the nitinol perpetual motion machines?
No.
The nitinol is a metal that when it's cold, it bends, and when it's warm, it goes straight, or warm when it bends. Either way, it's hard at room temperature, and in warm water, it will coil up, right? And it develops memory, so it actually becomes more efficient during the transition the more times it does it. And so what they do is they essentially make like this paddle wheel that goes around, and it uses the coils contracting each time they go into the water underneath it to then push it back around, right? And so they hook that up to a motor or an electrical generator, and they actually get power out of it.
See, that's cool.
and it's called nitinol. It's a very expensive to make, but you can actually order it on Amazon. But the process for it is not cheap, so you're not going to get a lot of it, but you can get it in small amounts.
See, something
That'd be
like
fun
that
to
is
play
very
with.
interesting. The hillbilly back-to-back generator free energy device. I just on the surface, it sounds a little hoaxy to me.
Right. So here's one of them. And basically, I watched how they built this. They go in the alternator itself and they reverse the magnets. They totally rebuild it. But here's just a quick clip of what I was looking at. Yeah, the music's horrible. Sorry. So they've got an electric motor and a car alternator, obviously. It's about as redneck as it gets. Just electric.
When you say like reversed it, what did they do inside the alternator? Like there's windings, because like I know all about these. Like I used to pull them apart and run like 4 or 5 alternators on my truck to run a 20 kilowatt transmitter out the back.
Okay. From the one that I watched, now I'm trying to remember. Basically, they took out the entire guts. They took out. They let this.
No, that something like that doesn't. What is it hooked? No, there's no such thing as free energy, dude.
Eventually, it'll run out.
No, that's
Well, what it's doing, guys, what it's doing is it's actually robbing from the magnetism. So
Right.
the magnets will eventually deplete. Because what it's doing is there's a transfer of energy. The magnets are losing the magnetism, and that's what is allowing this to take place. But eventually they will run out.
Right. And so what I know that they did before is they ended up taking the magnets in it and they reversed the polarities on them and changed the system around. I'd have to go through and do the research and stuff on it. But I've seen a few videos like this. I've just never tried it myself.
Yeah, that's essentially what they're doing, though. And then they're using the alternator to run the generator, which is powering the alternator, or the generator, which is then spinning the belt,
Right.
which spins the alternator, which creates the power, right? But it's robbing from the magnetism inside the alternator, and eventually will deplete.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. Welcome to Craziness. And she's at her sewing machine working away.
So I'm curious. After you get that thing running, how the hell do you stop it?
Scissors on the belt, man. I don't know.
Throw a wrench in it.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw another one. But,
well, if it's really working like how you propose, you would just like, I don't know, kick it really hard or something.
short it out.
Demagnetize it right away.
Yeah.
But I still don't think that works. Like, try that. And let me know
Please.
how it goes.
Yeah, one of these days I want to give it a go. I've seen several videos on this, and a lot of them were running. They actually pulled it apart, changed all the electronics, and then they replaced the magnets, different types and different polarities inside the alternator. Then re-poured the center shaft in epoxy.
So,
went and
but
sanded it out.
what advantage? Like, an alternator generates AC, right? And then there's diode packs on the back of it that turn it into DC. So,
Right, which is
what are they doing with that? Are they just directly tapping the secondary windings of the alternator and taking like unregulated 3-phase AC and
yeah.
feeding the AC motor, or are they taking DC from the
This is your
rectifiers?
fault,
Like,
Serenity.
Hey, what?
This is your fault, Serenity.
Sorry.
no, dude. Like, I used to take apart alternators and screw with all this stuff. I had step-up transformers in the back of my truck. I'm a total AC theory nerd.
Perfect.
I
Yeah,
could
look
just
it up.
tell you that video is complete bullshit.
Well, I would say
It's not
test it.
going to work.
I'd say test it. I've seen several of these. This is just one of my grabbed real quick.
Yeah, no,
And yeah.
that's complete bullshit.
It could be. I've never personally tried it, but yeah, there's a homework assignment for you, BTK.
You can try it.
I'm still trying the trading thing, man. That's my homework.
I don't think
been
Wild
messing with
Angel
my
wants to
radios
come
again.
home and find Serenity like zapped laying out across the garage floor.
No, it's always a good day when 1, he wakes up on the right side of the dirt, and 2, he doesn't end up on fire.
Hey, there you go.
That's why he had to get rid of the hair, right? Because hair is a lot more flammable.
Yeah.
So I don't wear jewelry at all.
Me either.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
mine's because I can't stand the sensation due to autism.
That's fair. So like we were talking before, we all have our battles. We all have our demons we fight. So, yep, I feel you there. And man, we got like a whole family gathering here. We got Britt in here. We got Mom in here. And yes, Britt is Grandma is Mama's Britt's grandma. Yeah, you know how that goes. So they're chatting back and forth. So we got the whole family thing going here today. So this is awesome.
And I know Rose is listening in from her phone.
And
Rose,
Rose,
you can jump
yes,
up here too.
it's all about food.
I did see the food earlier.
I ate before this. I was smart this time.
Right.
I fed him about 4:30.
Yeah, she did.
I fed him about 4:30.
Did you water him?
No, I just took him food. It's watering him is up to him.
Oh, okay. All right.
But
See,
we are
I'm-
having homemade enchiladas after the show.
Oh, well, that's a great show, guys. Night.
Yeah.
I'm out of here. So, yeah, you know what's funny? When I saw that Cybertruck, first thing I thought of, we've been playing the new Modern Warfare 3, and we've been running the same challenge. And we've seen a lot of people do it. They camp and delivery thing. You jump in a truck, drive through people. That's what it made me think of as soon as I saw that. I was like, oh, look, it's Modern Warfare 3 in real life. It's great.
Right? That's what I said. It just needs a gun turret in the back.
Yeah.
I instantly saw Halo.
Right. The Warhog. The A-10
Exactly.
Warhog. Or not the A-10 Warhog. That's an airplane.
That's
You
an
know what I
airplane.
meant.
I know what you meant. It's. Oh god, it's gonna look good.
Yeah, you almost got in trouble there. It's like, A10, no.
That's the plane that goes brrr.
Right.
Yeah.
And if it fires for more than a 3-second burst, it will actually fly backwards.
Falls out of the air.
M12. M12 Warhog.
Yeah, that one. What he said. I always got to remember that my screen is reversed for me. So Crow's on this side, Billy's there, Serenity's there.
I'm with
Right.
you.
But for me, Billy's there, Crow's over there, Wild Angel's up there, and Serenity's there.
And now we play musical people. Okay, let me shuffle everybody around and we'll get used to it again.
Ooh, that's an idea, right? Like have this little thing where you shuffle everybody around and we're supposed to keep track of who's actually where.
Oh, we can
God.
make a game show out of this. This could be fun. I love it. So, Wild Angel,
Yeah.
welcome to the show. Yeah, we kind of popped you up and threw you into just the crazy as we always have here on Friday.
I'm
So,
always in the crazy, just off stage.
Right. So it's different on this side. What do you think so far?
I don't know yet. Ask me at the end of the show.
Well, you said enchiladas, so we're getting pretty close, man.
They're not hot yet. They got
Oh, damn.
half hour maybe.
Hey, we got 27 minutes, guys. Enjoy it while what's here.
Short show tonight, eh?
We're having too much fun. This is great.
All right, what we'll just do is when the enchiladas are ready, right? You eat them, and we'll start talking about something dumb, and we'll just run the show while you stuff your face, and then the show can go on.
Perfect. I love it. Problem solved. All right.
The show must go on.
Yes,
Yes.
it must.
I
So,
offered to do it last week, but we decided not to.
I kind of want to watch him, see how he tries to eat an enchilada without making a mess, right?
There's no.
Especially
white
wearing
shirt.
a white shirt.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean, that's great entertainment. We can do commentary on it. We'll pretend it's a mukbang video.
Oh, this is gonna be great. I'm gonna come back and I'll look like a kid with like a bib and spaghetti sauce all over. It's like, oh god, what happened? But it was good.
Hey. Why does it always become food?
I mean, it always goes that way. So, yeah, another change we have, of course. Let's bring him center stage because this is just amazing. Look, Crow got a haircut. Holy hell, he almost looks human.
Almost, just a little bit.
Which one did you get cut?
A little. Oh god. Oh god.
Took him a minute, man. You were a little
Took me a
slow on the
minute.
uptake there,
Took me a
Crow.
minute. It was.
Good morning, Crow.
Crows on dial-up.
I freaking. I got home last night and I passed out on the couch.
Hey, I
Almost
did
that
too.
today.
I wonder what happened to you.
Oh, I died.
You're still breathing. You're fine. Okay.
Well, I got bumped.
Well, that could be. See, that's why it's deja vu. We talked about that earlier. Yeah, there you go.
So here's the thing. Some of the Mandela effects, really, I think that's just getting bumped, right? How come so many of us who were born prior to a certain date remember things so differently about certain things? Like the Monopoly guy, he had a monocle, right? No, never had a monocle, ever. Curious George
Never
loves
had a
seeing from the
monocle,
trees on his tail, right? Curious George never ever had a tail. You know, like, but we all remember these things a certain way, but they've never been that way. So maybe we just collectively, periodically, certain generations got bumped, or everyone who was born prior to a certain date, something happened, the world died, we got bumped to a different one where there's those little changes.
Maybe the monocle is actually a merge of the peanut guy and the Monopoly guy, because the peanut guy has a monocle.
That's
Yeah.
what I was saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a mashup.
Maybe.
The one that always messes with my head is the Star Wars one. Where it's like, how's it go? It's like he says, "Luke, I am your father," or I can't remember exactly how the Mandela effect. for that
Luke,
one
I am
goes.
your father is the one I remembered.
Yeah, but he doesn't say that. He says, "No, I am your father."
Bingo.
Right. There was actually an article came across my phone the other day talking about that. And it talked about the Looney Tunes. I know we talked about that here before. Talked about the Star Wars one. And there was one other. I don't remember what it was. I kind of skimmed it and went, oh, we already covered that last week. Never mind. And just swiped away. Whatever.
Hey,
Yeah.
Britt, what's CERN?
CERN,
CERN.
it's the particle accelerator.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. See,
'Cause-
smart people.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, theoretically, when they fired up CERN, maybe it caused a black hole and it devoured like the world, right? Because that was a non-zero chance. So, you know, maybe that's when we all got bumped.
Could be. Maybe it inverted us, stuck us in a different dimension. Who knows?
Did
Possible.
anyone else notice that we got mixed up?
There you go. It's kind of like shuffling people around on the screen. Like, see, we can do this, and we just change everybody. It's like, okay, you go there, you go there, you go there. Okay, there we go.
Crow, PTK, Serenity, Wild Angel. You moved
No,
it. You moved it.
No, you must have been bumped because it was like this the whole time. I don't know what you're talking about, Sarah.
Bump this.
Bump this.
Oh, jeez.
Exactly. And Britt says, yes, exactly. CERN, and it could be. I mean, think about it. We are messing with things of the universe that we have no idea what the hell we're doing. We don't even know the human body and how the damn thing works. Now we're trying to deal with relativity and shit. Dude, how are we still alive?
Yep.
Nice,
Well,
Britt.
You know, we're over here, you know, smashing particles together and creating like the boson particle where it's not supposed to be, right? And when you realize just how the universe works, right, you know, with that fabric of space-time and how that can be manipulated, and we're sitting here punching holes in it essentially because we're creating a very high explosive, high energy event, and those kind of things will affect space-time. It will cause it to ripple, and that messes with things.
You know, there was a book way long ago when I was in grade school, A Wrinkle in Time.
That's a good book.
It's a great book.
Oh,
Chris says we have to jump now and often due to the implosion of the timeline. Yeah, exactly. Says, okay, I'm done. I feel the same way, dear. Yeah, we go down the rabbit hole every time on this, and we never know where we're going to end up. So this is a lot of fun.
yeah. One,
That's it.
I think Britt would have really enjoyed the Freaky Friday where we were talking about the dimensions and how radio waves are a one-dimensional item that we're actually witnessing in 3 dimensions. So that means in the fourth dimension, it's 2-dimensional. In the fifth dimension, it's 3-dimensional, right? So radio waves are the 1-dimensional version of something that we're seeing from the fifth dimension. You know, we got deep into all of that.
That was epic.
It was like, what, 3 or 4 weeks ago?
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I
Just
think
to
so.
give you a time reference, Britt, to go back and look.
See, and I've yeah, thank you for coming to TED Talk. Except for this is a little crazy. We're just Serenity Talk here. We go nuts. And Britt knows all about that theory, apparently. Exactly. Love that theory. See? My whole family is insane. We really are. We are crazier than bedbugs.
Oh. Well, you know, Britt, it's like the formula that allows you to calculate the volume of a sphere in any dimension, right? The fifth dimension is where a sphere has the highest volume. If you go above that, the volume drops off. If you go below that, the volume drops off. It means the party's in the fifth dimension. That's where reality is.
Right. We're just thoughts.
Yep. We're just the 3-dimensional representation of whatever we are in the fifth dimension. You know, that's all it is. It's kind of like if you look at a radio wave and you see it like that, right? Or a color spectrum is just that vibration. You know, that's just what we see in this dimension, but it's something else, you know, when you put it all together, you know, crash enough of those waves together and it makes light, which crash that enough of that together, it makes matter. Like, it's crazy.
You know, it's kind of funny. We've got AI running around. And so we think, oh, you know, we've got the whole Terminator thing that's going to happen. Then we start talking about these the rays coming off the sun. I forget what the hell.
Solar flares?
CMEs, coronal mass ejections.
Yes, thank you. And they're saying what? Yeah, sunspots basically. But they're saying that they're going to come out and they're going to mess with us and everything else. And you know, we've got all these things we're doing. We've talked about COVID and all these diseases. Everybody's freaking out. Oh my God, this is going to kill us. That's going to kill us. No, the simple fact is our scientists have already killed us. We just don't know it yet.
Well, we're getting to the top of the cycle, as ham radio operators would say, the sunspot cycle. It's like 8-9 year cycle, right? And then they get real crazy, and it's a lot of fun if you're a ham radio operator during the peak of the sunspot cycle, because it affects HF, meaning 1 to 30 megahertz radio propagation in crazy ways. Like you can a lot of people, they'll say like, oh, at the top of the cycle this won't mean much to you. You could get on 10 meters and work New Zealand with a wet noodle hanging off your front porch. And they're right. Like propagation goes crazy when there's a lot of sunspot activity like that. So it's pretty cool stuff. And that is it directly affecting like waves of a lower frequency. You know what I mean? Those ejections from the sun, it's just crazy, and it all interacts very, very crazy ways.
For the non-technical people, if you live here and you're trying to send a message to someone here, radio waves aren't going to reach them because they're not going to go through the earth, right?
Right.
Usually you have to have a satellite to relay it from here up down to them, right? But during certain solar cycles, you don't need that because
the ionosphere
bounce
will
off
bounce
the atmosphere
it around. So if you picture like me sending a radio wave to China, yeah, there's no line of sight. I can't see China. So what I have to do is bounce my signal off of the sky and have it reflect down at an angle that hits China or something near there on the other side of the world. So during a lot of sunspot activity, that happens like crazy. Like it's just like bounce. Everybody hears it's really crazy. They call that skip, like skip contacts, because you're skipping your radio wave off the sky. And it gets more technical than that. There's different layers of the ionosphere that do different things. There's some that are only present during the day, and they all different frequencies interact with the different layers in different ways. Higher frequencies just fly right through them. They don't bounce. So,
okay.
Anyway, now that everybody's like,
did you hear about the Mario speedrunner? He was speedrunning, and the solar flare happened, and something wigged out his game, and he was able to like jump higher, And they
what
said that was, like,
happened? I did.
Speed
Didn't
run
mean,
ever.
to, didn't mean to cut you off there. But what happened was a neutrino passed through his freaking computer and flipped a bit. So it flipped it from a 0 to a 1. And that bit just so happened to be the one that was indicating his axis for his character. So instead of being down here, it registered him as being up at the top of the level.
Oh, that's wild.
He set an unbeatable speedrun record as a result because they couldn't disqualify it because it wasn't cheating. It was a literal act of the universe.
That's kind of cool.
It's like a godly superpower right there. Like, hey, universe,
no
give it to
one-
me.
No one
For
will
what
be
it's
able to
worth.
recreate that.
Nope.
Dude, for what it's worth, my computer crashed in epic fashion yesterday and there was high sunspot activity. Like it just blue screen of death and then would not fire up Windows 10. It kept doing the recovery loop. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't rebuild stuff, nothing. So I don't know. I went into the BIOS settings and then back out and it worked after that, but I have no idea what happened.
It probably had to refresh the BIOS settings into its onboard memory.
Yeah, I don't know. But when I exited, it has a UEFI, not a BIOS. Anyway, when I exited that, it shut down like hard. Like, and I'm very familiar with the way that my computer shuts down, the sound it makes, everything about it. Like, it just aggressively shut down. It was just like I was like, whoa. I never seen it shut down like that before. Cycled it, came right up. No idea. Just like, yo, something was hanging this thing up.
I know that our phones haven't really been telling us when we've been getting texts or messages on Facebook or stuff like that. Like, we're not getting certain calls or text messages, and it's super spotty. Like, most times it'll work, and then just randomly it'll drop that day. You know?
Radio wave propagation gets crazy, man, when there's sunspot activity.
Yep.
You might
When the
be.
AIs
We
are
rely,
taking
that's
over.
all it is. GSM networks, like cell phone stuff, all that.
Yeah, I know I've been having to reboot my phone a couple times a day for
Yep.
last week, maybe.
Yep.
I blame
So-
my crow.
It's spreading, Jim. It's spreading.
Oh, it's his fault. Gosh.
Yeah,
So-
his computer's been doing that. Well, mine was, and then his was, and now everything just keeps crashing left
It
and
is.
right.
It's so random. Like, we'll sit there for like 3 days and game every night, nothing, and then all of a sudden it'll just randomly crash, just out of the blue. It's kind of
You guys use solid state drives?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm
Not
pretty
a
sure
lot.
that's where my dilemma came in. That something happened in the drive, but I did a disk check for an hour and a freaking half, and that told me everything was cool. But it obviously wasn't, because I couldn't even access like basic like command line functions and things. Like, it was just like, yeah, file not found. It's like, what?
It's gone
like
to the point where I've started to buy different replacement parts to try to see if I can just get it to stop, because it's pissing me off.
It's like my
An excuse for
desktop.
an upgrade.
I think solid state drives really only have a useful lifespan of about 3 to 4 years. So mine are about that old. I mean, that would be the first thing I'd replace, is just all my drives.
It's not a bad idea. I'm
That's all.
replacing my PSU and my motherboard.
That stuff doesn't like go bad. The only thing that's gonna kill is like heat and stuff like that. As long as they're running, cool. The motherboard, the MOSFETs on that. Like, I did a lot of research. I don't know if you guys know what VRMs are, but that's like the power strip for your motherboard. I don't know. I won't even start talking about it, but I did a lot of research, and I bought the motherboard that wasn't the fastest, best, whatever. It had the most robust VRM. So hopefully I get a lot of longevity out of it, because that's not going to die. The power supply is killer. And then everything else, like, I don't know,
Well, the reason I'm doing my power
stays
supply
powered
unit
up.
is because I've been upgrading my GPUs, And right now I have a decent sized GPU, one of the newer ones, the 7800 I think is what it is or whatever. So I'm thinking that maybe that could be an issue because I'm pulling more power than I've ever pulled before.
Well, yeah, I mean, that will be the first thing to cause problems, you know, if your voltage dips a little bit. All that stuff is really critical, you know. Power supply, power delivery, you know, your power rail, your VRMs on the motherboard, and then just having, you know, enough ass behind it to run whatever giant GPU you want. But that's another thing, you know, that's power supply stuff. You're going to get, I would go the power supply that can output comfortably twice what you're ever going to ask of it for headroom specifically. I've just been fucking with radios and like all this stuff, and like headroom is the answer to everything. If you want longevity out of electronics, headroom. Give it headroom. If it runs at 50% or less all the time, dude, you'll have it past its useful lifespan. You know, once it's like, oh, you can't run anything on this computer anymore. You need 4 times the processing power. Then you have to get a new, bigger power supply. But you know what I mean?
Right.
Exactly. And so we had a couple of questions come through. So, Cyril, since you're the master of multi-dimensional warfare, can we get rid of old wrinkles in the 5th dimension? Do you have wrinkles?
Well, in the 5th dimension, I can't imagine there would be such a thing as a wrinkle.
Right.
Because a wrinkle is a byproduct of your 3rd dimensional body, right? And 5th dimension isn't physical. Not in the way that we would see it. So
there you go. Wrinkle problem solved. Okay, so that answers Mom's question. And apparently we are bad influences because Brittany says, oh my God, I've been staring at the same equation for like 5 minutes. We'll be right back. we do tend to do that. After a while, it's like, man, I just got to stop and pay attention. What the hell are these guys going to spit out next time? And Crow left. Bye, Crow. He went to eat. I'll bet he did, knowing Crow.
I went to look at a drink, all right?
Hey, food was involved. Something went in the hole.
You boozing?
you're supposed to have all that stuff ready ahead of time.
I know, I dropped the ball.
Shame.
He taught you better, Crow.
I was doing the tabs for my code book when we started this.
Yes. Always a fun day. Spent like 2 hours putting tabs to my NEC. It was not pleasant. Britt says, I'm still here, just engaging, not engaging.
My desktop does this thing where it runs beautifully, right? It's a freaking great desktop. But every now and then, it'll just lock for about like 2, maybe 3 seconds. And if a sound is playing, it'll just do that where it's repeating the sound over and over again, right? But the screen will lock. But then as soon as it unlocks, whatever was taking place during that time has already transpired, right? So it's not like the computer itself froze. It's like everything peripheral froze.
Oh, it got
Maybe a
bumped.
RAM thing.
Maybe my computer got bumped. It's dying. But it does this, and it does it almost religiously. Like, I can always kind of tell when it's about to do it again because it's the same amount of time in between it each time. So it's really bizarre.
That is weird. See, I often wonder, we've got all these AIs running around. Now they're interacting on the internet. It's like, how many of these things are just jumping in, surfing through your computer? It's like, okay, check it. Okay, gone. Who knows?
Right?
Yeah.
It could be, and like with, wow. Thought gone.
And it's gone.
And it's
Here,
gone.
I found this. Sorry, you want this back?
Yeah.
Dude, all we have to do to overcome AI, we can battle AI with Chrome tabs. We'll just keep opening them. And
Use all the RAM. Oh,
Yep.
man.
Oh god.
I just read something today that I guess China, NVIDIA, I think it was, it's like shipping all their top-end GPUs over to China, and they're disassembling them and putting them in these big AI machines. Which is nuts.
Makes sense. I mean, the amount of processing power to run some of these AIs is insane.
Right?
Insane. And it turns out, like, there's this one app. I think it's called Kare, I don't remember exactly, but basically it utilizes Midjourney. You know how Midjourney usually takes a while to come up with your result? Turns out if you turn down the quality just a skosh, so it's not like visibly noticeable, it generates them almost instantly. So what they've been doing is it combines kind of like Adobe and AI on the fly. So you can like draw an outline of something and it will fill it in. So it gets to combine human creativity with AI instead of just relying on the AI to generate the stuff so it can make truly unique things.
Interesting. So it's like an AI Pictionary.
Kinda, yeah. If you're sitting there doing 3D modeling, it's sitting there like rendering what it is while you're doing the modeling. You know,
Dude, that's really cool. Like somebody who was really, it's still prompting the AI exactly how you would manually, but somebody smart was like, let's take prompting to the next level. And they wrote some scripts or programs to prompt the AI in exactly the same way, but based on different input, like from drawing. And man, I wonder what they're going to come up with next. I mean, that's pretty cool, you know, converting one thing into prompts, the very good prompts.
Right, because the key to using AI correctly is prompting it the right way, and that's what most people don't understand. They just like ask it a question, but no, you have to do the thinking for it. You have to tell it what you want it to do, and you have to be very specific, and you have to use certain keywords and whatnot to actually get what you're looking for. And most people don't understand that, so that's why prompt engineering is actually becoming a career of study that you can get a job in now.
Wow.
That's like prompt engineering to the next level. That's like starting to make like prompt engineering products.
Right.
That's, you know, emerging market. Like that's cool stuff. That's why I'm here, man.
Yeah. AI is not going to replace people, but AI is going to take what people do to the next level if you know how to use it correctly.
Yeah. And they're going to smooth it out. They're going to write new things, and where it's going to start making assumptions. Like, okay, if somebody says this, really the prompt is going to add all these little fillers, if you will. I know I've used ChatGPT and a few of those to work on descriptions for videos or titles, things like that. It's like, okay, write me out a description for this video, and I'll give it the transcript of different things. Like, okay, now fine tune it to this, or cut it down to this, or give me the keywords out of here. And yeah, it does. It takes a lot of prompts to get it to where I want it to go. And people don't realize that. They're like, oh, okay, just write this essay for me. Wrote the same one 500 people. It doesn't work. But if you prompt it, yeah, you can get some very unique results.
Yep. Absolutely. That's why there's actually like add-ons for a lot of these AIs that don't limit how many prompts you can use. A lot of the AI platforms and whatnot limit you to like a certain amount of characters for prompting. But if you can remove those limits, you can make very, very specific things. Right.
Now, I've read on several things that a lot of the AIs, we built in different safety, security. You don't want to teach it how to make C4 or something. But people are using tricks on their prompts to get around even all those safety protocols. I know one was, it's when the verification codes come up on the screen. And somebody said, oh, well, you know, I found this in my grandmother's locket. What does this say? And it happened to be one of the security prompts that you have to verify you're human. And sure enough, it answered it for it because they went around the protocol.
Yep. There was another one where he gave it a task and it came up to a CAPTCHA, right? And it knew it needed to get the CAPTCHA solved. So it went online, found a service that helps blind people. And basically blind people upload a picture and then people respond with, it says this, right? And it will read it out to them. And so the AI uploaded a screenshot of the CAPTCHA, and the person even jokingly said, are you sure you're not a robot? Ha ha ha. And the AI lied. It said, no, I have a visual impairment that makes it difficult for me to see what these things are saying. It lied to solve the task.
That's great. tell me this stuff is not advancing to its own identity. I mean, the damn thing lied to it. It's like, no, I'm not a robot. You're good. I have a problem. Man, this is getting sketchy as hell. Yeah, people think that the world is not changing and evolving. They have no idea.
Right. Crazy stuff.
It is. So what do you think of all of this, Wild Angel? You're down there muted.
I was coughing. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
No, I was just thinking, weren't we watching iRobot the other night?
Hmm?
Oh,
Was that
good movie.
iRobot?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, it's we're almost there.
There's another movie out that I want to see, but right now you have to purchase it. You can't rent it on Amazon Prime. But it's called The Creator, and it's basically an AI that comes into existence and decides to solve some issues, right? And so it winds up becoming a humans against the AI kind of thing. Kind of like, people always make the humans against robots or humans against aliens. Well, now this one's humans against AI. And it looks like a really, really neat movie. And I might watch that later tonight.
That sounds
That
pretty
sounds
good.
cool. Yeah.
Sounds
Well,
like I might get into.
yeah, I wrote it down. I'll be checking that one out. So now I'm really curious, guys. What is your perception as far as, we've got AI, we've got robotics. Now we've got microchips going into people's brains to help with visual impairments or audio, things like that. There's all these different things going on. Where do you think this is going to go? What's your vision?
Ultimately, I think, and I promise not to take long on this, but ultimately, I think humans at some point are going to realize it's easier to just get rid of the bodies, right? And I think we will wind up creating enough computing power, most likely with a Matryoshka brain, right? If you're not familiar with that, it's a superstructure that's built around the star, harvests the energy of the star, and runs a massive computer with it. Theoretically, if we advance enough, we could build one of those by disassembling Jupiter. And it would make sense for humans to just upload themselves, right? Because if you can have whatever you want, you can have whatever life you want, you can have and it's you because it's everything you, right? Would we exist that way? Would it? But then that also raises the theological question: would that even be us? But anyway, I'm done.
Fair enough. Who's next?
I'll shoot.
Okay.
I think there's AI and all that stuff is gonna get ahead of us, and there's gonna be some cataclysmic event where something's gonna happen, and either we're gonna somehow abolish all AI and just kind of get rid of it, or we're gonna figure out some kind of median.
The Terminator meets the Matrix kind of thing you're thinking.
You could say that, yeah.
Okay.
Seems more like the movie AI, Artificial Intelligence, is kind of what you're leaning towards, Crow.
Right.
Kind of some balance of coexistence, and they kind of wind up being treated like less than human, but they're there.
Okay. Interesting. Good. 2 left.
I can't speculate like too far like that, just because I don't know. But in the short term, like in our lifetime, I would say blackouts, electrical blackouts, and soft warfare.
Interesting.
Did you read Software yet, or look at it at all?
No, I haven't. I'll check that out.
I sent it to you a long time ago. It's pretty cool. It is hard to read. It's a heavy read, 400 pages, but
Is that your thesis?
it's the Jason Lowry's thesis on
Digital
modern
war.
power projection methods, basically.
Yeah. Basically saying like we're more powerful because we can afford to spend more energy on running calculations against you, kind of thing.
Exactly, and it echoes things that like people have been saying for a long time. Guys like Tesla said that we develop advanced computers and have, wattage warfares. I mean, literally said that. It's a cool one. It'll take you a long time to read, no doubt, if you get through it. But
I want to say I started reading something you sent me, and it all blurs out. I probably didn't make that far, honestly. I got sidetracked. Oh, look, shiny, and away I went. Yeah. ADD is great.
Yeah, it can be hard to make it through an article like that if you're not really into the material.
the other thing that's difficult about it is it requires a lot of requisite information and a pretty deep understanding of Bitcoin and how that works and proof of work, stuff like that.
Computational, electrical, blah, blah, blah.
Yes. Yes.
So, real quick, not to get anyone sidetracked, but the shiny thing that Jim just said, it is bad. We'll be sitting there playing Call of Duty, and we're all trying to move to this one location, as a group, and then all of a sudden he'll just stop, turn around, and go another way. And I'm like, where are you going? He's like, I hear the do. Like, what do you mean you hear the do? Because the boxes that have the really good loot, they make a do. So yeah, you'll hear that, and he'll just drop whatever he's doing and just search until he finds it.
Yep. I must find that sound. It's driving me insane. So,
gotta grab all the loot.
Exactly, yeah. And as Britt says, we are bored. Yeah, that's not far off, Britt. I mean, we are getting very, very close to that. You're right. So, Wild Angel, what do you think?
Honestly, I lost track of the question.
What do you envision between the AI, the digital markets with medical advancements, all these different things that are coming out? What do you see the future look like, either near or far?
Farther out, probably like that show Altered Carbon.
Yes.
We all end up with stacks, and
Yes.
we just read. Hey, this body's toast. Let's just get a new one.
Yep. New sleeve.
New sleeve. Thank you.
Yep.
That's kind of where I see it going. And AI is going to have big impact on that. But how much it's going to take over, I don't know.
It's interesting. And, you start taking bits and pieces of all these. I think there's going to be a little bit of all of it mixed in together. And I think we're going to move, kind of like Brett's saying, we're going to get somewhere to the board where, yes, we are going to be partially machined, whether it be by choice or by physical limitations. We can increase our brain power, our computational abilities through microchips and processors implanted in the body. We start finding out that, hey, we can go with a better heart or better lungs. Why should we deal with just the human aspect if we can modify that and increase our longevity, things along those lines? But then you start talking about the physical world in which we live in. Well, a lot of people have jobs that they don't want to do. So, do we really need somebody to clean out sewer pipes? So why don't we make a robot to do that? And so all the way around, we're kind of creating our own demise. I don't think we'll ever fully go away. I don't think it's going to be like a whole Terminator concept. But I do think there's going to be an evolution where man and machine merge together, and it's going to be almost impossible to tell a difference of the two.
Yeah.
And Britt, you'll just have to get another specialty, maybe in the cyborg.
Well, I mean, cyborgs are part tissue, right? Because I know they have an artificial heart out that works, right? It lasts for about 10 years and then it burns out. But if they could get one that didn't burn out in 10 years, I would swap mine out in a heartbeat, pardon the pun, because I no longer have one afterwards. It provides continuous pressure. But, I've got heart issues, right? So it'd be great to just swap it out. Or, lungs. I suffered from a spontaneous pneumothorax back a little over 11 years ago. My lung just popped just because, right? So I'd love to get a different set of lungs. If you can make or print out these things, which they can print organs now, they've done it. Why not just get it? Especially if it's better.
Every time I get sick, everything goes straight to my lungs. So I get you. Yeah.
Right. So I'm curious, out of everybody here, guys, if you could, let's cover these a few.
Hi, Alex.
You could get, hey, Alex, we're here. Because if you need organs, I know a guy. Why does Alex, you know a guy for about everything, man. That doesn't surprise me in the slightest. So
There's
good to
a
see you,
website.
brother.
There's a website app for that actually. It's called I Have a Friend. And it's literally a bunch of people who all have a very special specialty that they do, but they haven't quite built a business for themselves yet. So what they do to build their portfolio and get high tier work for cheaper is I have a friend. So if you need anything, you go on there and you go, oop, I got this person local who will come and do it, and at a fraction of what the mechanic shop would charge, right?
That's
There
kind of
you
cool.
go. I did not know that. Damn it! Now I got to look that up too. My list is going to be long time we're done here.
At least you're taking your own notes tonight.
Yeah. See, usually I require Wild Angel to write it down. It's like, okay, remind me, what the hell did I talk about today? I don't know.
You're like, write that down.
Exactly. And Britt says, I would like to do research so we understand the brain before replacing it. We do not understand how the brain works. Exactly. That's why they call it practicing. Doctors still have no idea how the human body works for the vast majority of stuff. But yet we're putting microchips in them?
You know how I think the brain works? I think it works like an organic antenna, right? That's why everyone has a different patterning of folds in the brain, because we're picking up our specific frequency from the fifth dimension, right? And so that's what allows us to pilot this meat mech suit made of bone and carbon, right? Is we are remote controlling it, and our brain is an organic antenna with the way it's designed. Then you have the brain stem, right? That's the central processing unit that powers the mech suit that you're in. And the brain is just the antenna. That's what I think.
Ooh, have you guys seen on, I want to say it's Amazon, Peripheral?
Yes.
Another TV show. They need a new season. They really do.
They canceled it. I was so mad. The one with the VRs?
What the hell?
Right?
Yeah, the VR one.
Good.
I'm happy I didn't finish it because I watched like the first 2 episodes and just fell off the bandwagon.
Okay, now I'm pissed.
They canceled it. Believe me, I was pissed too.
So, and while Britt has a possible hypothesis, so I'm curious what her hypothesis was. But yeah, Ubonks agrees with you, Cyril. And it's an interesting concept. But if you think about it, I mean, we are putting in microchips in brains, we're putting in mechanics into bodies. So out of everybody up here, if you had an opportunity to improve either your heart, your lungs, or your mental capability through scientific modifications, would you do it?
I knew that was coming.
I'm a yeah.
I would.
Dude, if they could plop your brain
Hi, Mary.
inside a custom designed body, right?
Right.
Who wouldn't?
Dude, load me up.
I'll take the brain enhancements, please.
Exactly.
I can't remember what TV show it was, but like you could like upload like, oh, I want to know how to do physics, like theoretical physics, and they could just upload it
Matrix.
to your brain. Was it the
Yeah,
Matrix?
Matrix. Yeah.
They did that in that, but there was something else. I can't remember what it was.
There's been a lot of them. And I think it's very much a capability because you think about it, the human brain is nothing more than electrical impulse. Same way a computer works. Why can't you just import it in? Like, okay, let's download.
Wait, what did they call it in Cyberpunk, Cyril, when they like chipping up or something?
Getting chromed?
Getting Chrome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chrome
Yeah.
up.
Another
Yeah, where's Chrome? Sorry.
Yeah, boy.
Slacker.
another Keanu Reeves movie. They would download stuff into his brain, and then he'd have to go deliver it, and they'd get it out of his head.
Oh, yeah.
Help me out, honey.
I remember the lines like, I need a computer. I must get online. What was that?
Johnny, is that Johnny?
Johnny Mnemonic.
Mnemonic?
Yes. Johnny Mnemonic.
I suck at name that anything. So,
Who's excited for Constantine 2?
What?
no.
I didn't know they were making
I
No.
love
one.
Constantine, but they should have just left it alone.
Yo, Barry.
I'm excited.
Barry,
Love
thank you,
too,
brother.
Barry.
Barry?
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you for the super chat, Barry. That is awesome. Welcome to the show. And yes, we are going down the rabbit hole of technology and biology and all other ologies.
Well, I'm sure Barry wound up popping in here because somebody told him we were talking about AI. And so he's like, oh, shit. Because Barry, anytime I get a DM from Barry, I know it's going to be an article or something about AI.
It's fascinating. It's an amazing topic. And, that's one thing I think a lot of people don't realize. We are in such an exciting time in the history of mankind. You take your industrial revolution, things like that. Yeah, things grew and everything. But if you start looking at how quickly humankind has advanced over the years, from the 1900s till now, it took us all that time. But now we've done the same advancements like the last 10 years that we did in the last 100. And so it's just getting quicker and quicker and quicker. It's absolutely mind-blowing.
If you condensed the modern human species down to a 500-page book, right? The Industrial Revolution occurred 2 paragraphs ago. And in the last 2 sentences, we split the atom and landed on the moon.
Right. And we've got like 2 words into AI, if that.
It took longer to go from bronze swords to steel swords than it took to go from steel swords to the nuclear weapon. Think about that.
Right.
Talk about parabola.
Exactly. And, I've always said that there will be a time in which our technology will surpass our humanity. And we are at that time. And so it's a scary concept.
This close.
Well, what happens when something goes parabolic?
It always comes crashing back down, which is why I think human civilization has actually been around for significantly longer than we are aware of. And then there was some kind of cataclysm. It wiped everybody out, but what's the best way to leave something behind? You stack a bunch of big, heavy rocks, right? You use all your advanced tech that's going to get wiped away and eroded and whittled down to nothing to stack really precise, big fucking rocks because that'll still be there after the ice has wiped everything clean.
Wait, I think I just figured it out. The AI is going to get out of control, right? And in 4 years, when the aliens come, they come to save us from the AI.
There you go. What if the aliens are the AI?
That could be a really insidious invasion.
Maybe the aliens are like, oh, look at these morons. All right, like, is it finally time to go, say, all right, yeah, all right, we don't want to see them. All right.
Well, there's some pretty strong theories that say that the human genus species did not occur naturally, right? Because if you look at the path that evolution typically takes, it always winds up in a handful of designs, right? Crabs, worms, and I forget what the other one is. Lobster. Everything's lobster. But it always winds up in this handful of designs or this handful of creatures, 4 legs, right? Like mammals, they went a very specific design. The sea life, they went a very specific design. And then there's us, and we appeared at a very weird, just kind of out of the blue, almost. We weren't there, and then all of a sudden we were. So it leads a lot of questions, especially when you've got the Sumerian records. They were notorious for being really good record keepers, to the point where there was an Assyrian king who, so their record keepers were essentially a third party that emperors, didn't matter how powerful you were not allowed to give them an order, right? They didn't have to listen to you. It was a revered third party, and they just followed everybody around and kept records, right? And there was this Assyrian king who fell off his horse. And so he wasn't happy that the record keeper wrote it down. And so it became this whole thing where he would find where the record keeper put the record and destroy it. But the record keeper had a sneaky copy. And then they wrote about the fact that the king tried to destroy the copy, right? So the only thing that this Assyrian king is known for now is the fact that he tried to hide the fact he fell off his horse, right? But, so when you look at Sumerian records and ancient Assyrian records, that they're going to be very accurate, right? and they were carved into the stone so they could be kept around for centuries after they passed. Now, you've got records of them talking about a species of humans, right, that are like twice our size. And they came with the arrival of Nibiru, which was this 10th planet or whatnot, or sorry, 13th planet. Sorry, I'm high. But the theory is that Nibiru is actually a brown dwarf because they're very hard to see. And so it's got some kind of planet closely orbiting this rogue brown dwarf star, and it orbits through our solar system approximately every 5,000 years. But last time it came through, the planet that was in between Earth and Mars got ripped apart by its gravitational forces and formed the asteroid belt, right? And they spoke of every time it arrives in our solar system, great changes happen on the planet, right? And that the planet is visited by these giants of men. And that, just like Yabonks is saying right there, they came for the gold, right? Which is why humans, for some reason, place such a high value on gold. It's just a yellow metal, right? It's soft. It's not useful for tools. It's only useful for jewelry. But
Really good conductor.
Is a really good conductor, right? And so, but here's the thing. We prized gold long before we had electronics, right?
Right.
Why did we prize gold so much?
Because somebody else told us to.
Exactly. we all through our history, when we were mining it for them and giving it to them as gifts, and they came here to extract it from our planet, right? We learned shiny is good. It became an instinctual thing in our nature.
Humans have crow brains.
Humans have crow brain. Maybe we're part crow. Maybe that was some of the DNA they crossed us with, because crows can talk, right?
He does all the time. He won't shut up half the time. You know, it's kind of interesting. You do that, and then first thing that thought of my brain when you were talking about that, Sarah, was Stargate, where they're talking about Naquadah. Same kind of thing. Just a different synopsis or whatever, but it's the same basic thing. Is an alien species says, this is important, you're going to collect this for us. Now, for some reason, those alien species are no longer here. We still remember it's important, so therefore we still evolve our society around it. Interesting.
Genetic memory.
Yep, because DNA does carry memory. They've proven this. You know, they've proven that our DNA and our children learn from our memories through DNA transfer in the womb. So we're passing down those instincts. And, you know, it's strange because no matter how far back you go in human history, there's always been slavery, right? We were a slave race. Think about it. You know, for aliens, that's what we learned. We learned that power comes through the exploitation of others. You know, these all-powerful beings come, they exploit our entire race. We have to mine and give them all the gold. So, you know, it makes sense to me.
It does. It's kind of scary, so in a way, in fact. And Barry's talking about our microbiome and kind of organic intelligence, too. Absolutely. Like the Force. The midi-chlorides, right? Midi-chlorians?
Midichlorians.
Well, okay. I fully believe, Barry, that octopi are supposed to be the natural evolution of this planet, right? They're supposed to become the dominant ones. Because if you look, all the intelligence in the animal kingdom is in the sea and in the air. You get some of it on the land, but most of it's in the sea. Like the smartest of creatures, they tend to be the octopi, the cuttlefish, you know, the avian birds, the parrots, you know, the ones that have that kind of intelligence for problem solving. You see very little of that on the earth itself. You know, we're only beginning to understand that pigs have a form of pretty good intelligence, you know, and you see some of that, but in like dogs and cats now, but it wasn't always that way, right? It's almost like we're kind of rubbing off on them. like the local mammals anyways, that are becoming intelligent or that we're learning are intelligent. Like they're ones that have become domesticated by humans, you know, so they're used to being around that kind of thing. And it's theorized that consciousness comes from how much you know, and that you're not actually conscious when you're a baby. You don't have a consciousness until, because think back, when's the first memory that you're like, holy shit, I'm here, right? You're not a baby. You're like 3 to 5 years old. And we're discovering that a lot of the creatures that are intelligent have an intelligence range of between that of a 3 to 8 year old kid, right? And so it kind of begs the question, does intelligence and consciousness come from what you learn? If so, are we uplifting species by trying to be companions with them? And so they're learning thought, they're learning language, because language is how you communicate thought, right? So they're learning to communicate that, and that's increasing their intelligence.
Interesting. And so Yubunk says Nibiru orbits back towards Earth every 3,600 years. So how long we got left? Anybody do the math on that one yet?
Supposed to be soon. But, you know, the original calculations got shifted by 30 years when we realized that 2 emperors in the 1900s decided to move what year the world was in, because they thought it would be cool if their reign was during the year 1000. So all of those ancient timetables that everyone's like, okay, well, they said it would be here, why isn't it here yet? You've got another 30 something years to go, you know, but they're now talking about 2027, which would line up with the arrival.
There you go. Now that brings back or that made me think of, what was that email, the memo we were talking about the other day about aliens? How does that correlate to that date?
Well, they were talking about 2027, right?
That's when that was, right?
Yeah.
When it's supposed to happen. Okay.
Right. And see, previously everyone was talking about 2012, but you got to remember, we moved it, you know, we moved the date back in the 900s. So if you adjust for all of that, it all lines up.
And Britt, I totally agree. The nature versus nurture is freaking amazing to watch. Watch it happen. When they've separated twins and done twin studies, it's some of that research is pretty amazing.
That is pretty wild. Separate twins at birth and then they still grow up the same. It's like, how does that even happen?
Well, but they don't always grow up the same. They're genetically identical, but then you play into the nurture, because the nature has already been established as twins. And yeah, I agree. Cant is great.
Yeah, Cant's good.
But yeah, it all comes down to how were you raised. If you were raised in a very strict culture or a fairly relaxed one, it can make a pretty big impact.
It can, absolutely.
You got to think, who we are as people is a direct result of the experiences that we've had, right? Because yes, you might have twins, they're the same genetic framework, but the brain and your responses to things are shaped by the experiences that you've gone through, right? So if you could have 2 identical people, you could even clone yourself, and you could raise yourself in the way that you wish that you were raised or whatever, and yourself would come out different, right? It'd come out without that childhood trauma or without that fear of the dark because whatever reason, right? So that plays a massive part of things. And that's why I kind of think we're all uplifting the other species that we're interacting with the most, right? Because we're giving them that nurture, which is allowing their brains to understand concepts that they couldn't before.
It's a good point.
My bearded dragon knows that when I hold up a bag, he comes running because there's crickets and there's food in that bag.
There you go.
Don't learn that from the wild.
No.
Plastic bag, food. Yeah, you don't learn that on the tree. Sorry, I didn't tell you that.
And what is speech but us making different vibrations with our meat flaps based off of what we've learned from other people, right? To communicate an idea. So who's to say that these creatures don't all have those ideas? They just don't know how to communicate it. So we don't see them as intelligent. But as humans have been prolific, and these creatures are being forced to be closer to us over generations and generations, we're rubbing off on them in a sense and giving them conscious intelligence.
And then you got to ask yourself the other thing. It's just like we have a whole bunch of budgies and supposed to be very smart animals. And I've seen them work through locks and everything else. It's crazy. But they're always talking to each other in some form. Now, of course, I don't understand what the hell they're saying. But they can be taught to speak. Taught words, things like that, like parrots, things along those lines. But how do we know that they are not already communicating? They don't have their own dialect. I mean, they're having a whole conversation and they're having a party. We just don't know it. Just
the body
Same
language, like
Right.
animals and things. That's how you communicate most effectively with animals. I mean, everything has a different, like, if you want to get nerdy about it, everything has a different frequency response to their hearing. Like, human hearing relies on a small canal in your ear called the basilar membrane that has all these little tiny hairs that are different lengths that vibrate at different frequencies. Literally how you hear things. The wave goes in there, bounces, and resonates certain hairs in your basilar membrane. Other animal species works differently, and they have vastly different ranges of frequencies that they hear well. So to one animal, like, all of our speech might be in just this one low little part of like, like, it might be weird. Like us listening to a computer tell us something in binary. Like, it just sounds like, it's just like, what? Like, we have this whole broad spectrum of hearing, but the machine just has 1 and 0. I don't know. Like, who knows if it would even be effective? Body language, though. That just relies on our 3D meat sack here, and you just move, and like, we're not that in tune with it because we have speech. But animals, it's all body language. Like, I noticed that interacting with dogs and cats a lot.
And I'm sure you've noticed that interacting with Skittles, like, his body language, if he's gonna bite, if he's not.
Yep. My boy Skittles.
My boy.
Exactly.
And communication is only 10% verbal. 90% of the communication that goes on around people or amongst humans is nonverbal.
Now imagine being autistic and not being able to understand 90% of communication, which is why I always tell people, I'm like, you need to be very direct with me. You need to tell me what you're thinking and feeling, because I'm not going to see it otherwise.
Right.
Serenity always says, I'm oblivious to everything around me. Because frequently I just don't pick up on it. And we've got, out of our 7, 4 of them are on the spectrum.
And it's tough because you feel disconnected from people because you're missing out on all of that communication. And I came across something just last night, and I shared it with Billy. Apparently, people on the spectrum, when you test their urine, they have a higher molecule in there. I think it's called the HPP molecule. But what it does is it's a byproduct of the body breaking down DMT. Now, DMT, if you're not familiar with it, it's what lets you dream while you're asleep. It's a molecule that's secreted when they say your life flashes before your eyes before you die. It's because your body dumps, or your brain dumps DMT into your body. It's what allows you, if you ever have sleep paralysis, right? Your body is still pumping out DMT, but you also still have the sleep or paralysis hormone that's out keeping your body from moving. But so you're dreaming while you're awake. And so you're seeing all these things. You're seeing reality differently, right? So autistic people have a higher constant production of DMT that, when tested, is on par with someone who actively, consistently takes psychoactive drugs like mushrooms and salvia and peyote and things like that. So autistic people are essentially tripping. 24/7 on DMT, but we've gotten used to operating on that. So it's like when someone who habitually smokes pot, they can smoke pot and then go to work, right? And because they're used to it. But someone who's not would be like, so autistic people have too much DMT.
And that's interesting, Sarah. Like let's talking, we're on the spectrum. Yes, I'm on the spectrum like you are. And I swear, I've had conversations with people like, no, we talked about this. I remember specifically. And they look at me like I've lost my mind. They're like, no, you didn't. Like, no, I remember. Absolute clear. I remember the smell, the sound, everything. And they say, no, we never discussed it. Shit, I am losing my mind. Okay.
I've walked through the entire house before looking for Rose.
Right.
She was not there. I would say with 100% certainty, she was not in the house. And then I'm standing in the kitchen and all of a sudden she's there. I'm like, where the fuck did you come from? And she's like, I was right here. You walked right by me. And I'm like, you were not there, right? And that's just the DMT hitting me and I'm off in my own reality.
Right. And, it's interesting because this is something you and I can relate to. And, Crow and I have talked about this a lot. And he makes fun of me because like, oh, well, it must be nice to forget that we made that bet. It's like, no, I wish it was. It is one of the hardest things of being on the spectrum to do, is to separate memories from reality, what's real, what's not, what occurred and what didn't, because it's a huge handicap. You did things you don't remember, or you swear to God you did them and you didn't, and not knowing the difference. It's almost like a different reality. It's fractured, and people don't realize what that's like internally. I mean, you really start to second guess yourself on everything you do in life, and it makes it a huge challenge. Just like I started this video off today, is we're all fighting demons. And, Cyril, you and I have very similar ones with our medical conditions, as many people in my family. But I think everybody has a demon of some sort or another. And we don't always stop to see what it must be like to be somebody else. And so I know Crow, he just teases me out of fun, and I love him for it. Because, yes, I do forget bets. And it's like, no, we never did. Probably did, probably didn't. And that's why I don't keep track of it. I learned a long time ago, some things just aren't worth the battle to try to monitor, because I can't. And I know that. And so, it's interesting. I never knew that was DMT. So I learned something cool today. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. And that's a paper that they just recently published. They just discovered that. And so apparently the way to show someone who is not autistic what autism is like is to have them essentially microdose on shrooms the entire day and try to out their life. Honest to God. If you want to know what it's like to be autistic, go microdose on shrooms the entire day and try to go about your daily life. Try to hold conversations with people. Try to be present for the people in your life. Try to do a task, right? And you're going to realize it's a lot harder than you thought it was, right? There's a lot you're missing out on. There's a lot you're not picking up. And that's what we live with on a day-to-day. And I'm just so happy to hear that there's a way you can show neurotypicals now what it's like to deal with autism and still function.
Right. And the function is the hard part. That's the thing there. And a lot of people just thinking about that. I mean, right off the bat, I watched Crow's and Wild Angel's responses. And that's the trick, is you guys have a choice. You can choose to microdose. Some of us, man, we ain't got a choice. And like Yvonne says, y'all's tripping. Literally, we really are.
Well, dude, it's really hard to have a conversation with somebody who's not tripping when you're tripping. Like, it really is.
That's why autistic people really connect with each other, because we are kind of both tripping.
Well, yeah.
Dude, we're messed up. We're on a whole new level of crazy. And that's why most people who are autistic or have spectrum, they don't associate well with others. That's why we don't blend into crowds. That's why I'm very much an introvert. I have a few close people I talk to, and that's it. The rest of the world, no. I'll be nice, like, hi, how you doing? I'm Jim. Have a nice day. Bye. That's it. That's my conversation. Game over.
Because when you go to get high, right, you want to be in a good, relaxed environment, right? If there's too much going on, you can get a bad trip, right? It's like that for autistic people. When there's too much going on, our constant trip of a life turns bad. And we have to get out of there. Our skin starts crawling. Like, the slightest sensation feels like we're on fire. It's all amped up.
Right.
But sorry, Wild Angel was going to say something. Go ahead.
talking with somebody who's autistic. One of our older ones here at home had a miscommunication with our son. I was looking for my wallet, and he's like, "Oh, did you check your back pocket?" To me, it came off as very smartass, and so I responded very smartass. I was wearing leggings. Leggings don't have room for pockets, and so I said, "Do you see what I'm wearing?" Was totally smartass right back. Apparently, he got really, really offended. Because I was smartass back to what I perceived as a smartass question. And, I felt so bad when I found out about the misunderstanding. And so I did apologize. But, the perception of the responses is sometimes...
It's just Parker.
It's Chloe.
Oh, okay.
Chloe's coughing too.
Okay.
Kind of tie that back into what we were talking about before with trying to communicate with the animals and stuff. It's always about the words. And I come to that epiphany tripping too. It's always a limitation of words. And we got our ears or vocal cords and a fixed set of language that we can pull from. And the language is just a coverall for everything. You don't really have a way to know that it's conjuring the same thought in both people. But that's what we do. It's effective. We run the world like that. But then with animals and the nonverbal thing, and they have different frequencies they hear and stuff. So cats, for instance, can smell way better than us. And we don't have to communicate with a cat hey, I'm not feeling too good, or I hurt myself here, I'm feeling this way. They can literally smell the chemical changes within us and disease forming within us. They can just smell it and they know what's going on. It doesn't take words. You don't have to go to a doctor and say, "Oh, I feel this way," and then they get out a bunch of tools and instrumentation to try to prove it and this and that. It's no, the cat knows what's up. So it doesn't need any communication. And I maybe there's a lot of communication like that goes on that's way better than words. I'm just saying,
And that's the interesting part about being on the spectrum and things like that is autistic people very much don't have a lot of the barriers, the blockers that most people do that communicate with words. We feel more than we speak, and most times I know I can't put my feelings into words. And so somebody who with Gage would say, "Oh, did you check your pocket?" So trying to do a good deed, get something slapped back. Now he's feeling even more vulnerable, even more out there trying to do a good, and gets knocked down for it. It's oh my God, that's double whammy on that. And not to blow you out of the water there, Wild Angel. But that's one thing people don't realize is if somebody has a deficiency of some sort, just like a hearing loss or visual loss, their other senses become more acute. And with the autistic who are always tripping on top of it, their emotional state is usually much less protected. And so they're more fragile in a lot of ways. And people don't realize that. And that's why they don't deal with people, because a simple phrase or simple word can absolutely devastate somebody.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead, Sarah.
I was going to say, well, when you're high, you're in a heightened emotional state, right? The slightest little thing could set you sobbing. You feel emotions very intentionally. But, and the kicker is, I get why Gage asked her that, because I don't know if I have my wallet on me, even if it's in my pocket, unless I tap it, the pocket that it's supposed to be in, because my body will tune out the sensation because it's too busy focusing on all the other sensations everywhere. So, I get why to him that was a legitimate question.
Right. It was. And I totally get it too. And it's one of those that a lot of people don't realize or think about this, because we can only really understand our own perception of the world. And so it's just I could never understand what it's like to have perfect hearing, because I destroyed mine 20 plus years ago. And so I turn the TV up loud enough to literally rattle the windows just to hear the conversations. I can hear the bass and I can hear the high, but I can't hear the mid. But other people, it's man, that's got to be deafening, and I'm sorry. And so it really makes it interesting. And this is where, something like finding out that there's a chemical reaction in us that causes that. And I think that's pretty brilliant. That's amazing, honestly. Thank you for sharing that, Cyril.
It's relieving, dude, to know that that's what's going on with me, and that's why it's like that. I'm tripping on DMT essentially 24/7. What the hell?
Exactly. And for the longest time, so I know I'm older than you and stuff. And so when I was growing up, it was always, well, I didn't assert myself. They didn't know about all this kind of crap. I mean, that one they just learned about. But I mean, even back in the 80s and stuff, we were just problem children. Like, we weren't listening. We're too sensitive. We're this, we're that. We're all kinds of things. There was no classification. Nobody ever looked that closely into it at that point in time. They just thought that you were a problem child and we were all cut out of the same cookie mold. But no, we're just now finding out there's so many differences amongst people. It's amazing.
You know what's cool?
Wow.
There is a treatment that can increase your body's resistance to absorbing DMT. Meaning, now that they know this, you can take that medication treatment and cure your autism.
Ooh, that's
But
interesting. Okay.
But what if autism is actually an evolutionary step? Do we
I've thought about
want to negate it?
Right.
Because I'm sorry, everybody I know who has some form of autism, whether high or low functioning, perceives the world so much differently, but they see things that us, for lack of a better term, normal people
Neurotypical.
don't. Thank you. Yeah, we don't see these things, but yet they're all so much more attuned to the finer nuances of some things. Other things they're oblivious on. But what if it's an evolutionary step towards a better future?
Go ahead, Crow. Because I can tell you're itching to say something. I'm going to say something too, and I want to see if it's the same thing. Go for it.
My big thing is if you take that drug to suppress your DMT or completely get rid of it, would you be the same person?
You wouldn't be, right?
Exactly.
Because the way you see and perceive the world is what determines how you respond to it and who you are as a person, right? And so the thing I want to remind myself of, all throughout history, ancient history, like Egyptians, Sumerians, etc., and you can actually see this throughout the Catholicism religion as well. They place the highest priority on the pineal gland, and the pineal gland is represented by a pine cone. What's on top of the Pope's staff? Go Google it. It's a freaking pine cone, right? There are statues of pine cones all over the Vatican. All of these ancient religions that come from way back then, they focus on the pineal gland. That was represented in Egyptian culture by the rising of the serpent. It's why they had the serpent on their crown. The pineal gland is what produces DMT. And ancient historians and ancient history talks about DMT being the chemical that connects us with the gods, connects us with the divine. So is the DMT chemical, is our brain supposed to grow and evolve over time to produce DMT constantly so we can see reality for what it is, right? So that ties into what Wild Angel's saying here about it. Is it an evolutionary step? Are we supposed to be, is that why we're seeing so much more of it now? Like it could be that's, and we're perceiving the world differently, right? And it's like, you think back to the 80s, the 70s, like the vibe was just different, right? And there's a lot of other factors, technology, the world is shrinking, speed of news, yada, yada. But if it is an evolution and more people are starting to experience reality in a different way due to the DMT, it'll be interesting to see where things go. Are we going to fight it by trying to medicate it with, to block DMT reception, which of course would ruin your ability to dream, but,
and that's really interesting. And that's something that, Wild Angel, because we've had a lot of talks about this over the years. And I know, Crow, you and I have had a lot of talks. I very much see the world differently than most people around me. I always have. And so I'll point things out, and I'm totally oblivious to other things. And so that begs the question, especially like me and you, Sarl, being up here that have similar aspects. I don't say the same, but similar. Is the question, if they made a drug that could block the DMT, would you take it?
That's tough, right? Because I didn't receive my diagnosis until I was in my mid-20s. So I didn't even understand for the longest time why I just couldn't connect with anyone, right? Why interpersonal relationships seemed alien to me. And when I did finally receive my diagnosis, it was kind of like a weight was off my shoulders because I finally understood, right? But then came the whole, oh, well, now who am I, right? Because I have spent my whole life masking, apparently, now that I'm learning what this is called, masking for everybody to the point where I kind of lost my own identity in the process, right? So part of, if you receive a late diagnosis and you've been struggling with that all your life it can rock your world. And you lose a lot of relationships that you realize were built on masks. Like, they don't know you. Hell, you might not even know you. But this relationship was based off of you were trying to be the best person that you thought they wanted, right? And that's what masking is. So,
absolutely. And and the reason I threw it out there, because I have the same thing. And excuse me. I know there's a lot of things in my life, a lot of relationships, things. I tried to be this person. I tried to be that person. I tried to be the rescuer. I fell into codependency. I fell into drug addiction. And, it's going through that trauma and realizing that I'm different. And that's okay. And actually embracing that through my recovery and everything that I've got now is I'm very thankful for all the trauma I went through. Because I wouldn't be nearly as visionary or passionate or just the person I am today if I didn't have that trauma. So the question is if I could go back, or even if I could start now and change that, would I? To me, that's almost like putting on like some black and white glasses and walking through the world. I would lose so much color, so much passion, so much heart. I couldn't do it. I couldn't imagine a life not being autistic like I am. And so to me, like you and I were talking the other day on the message I sent you, is like, I think of it as a superpower. I get to experience and see the world in a light that most people don't. To me, that's a blessing. That's going to be cherished. Does it mean I'm going to be ridiculed? I don't fit into this group or that group? Yeah, it does. But you know what? I get to see things most people can't. And so I think of it as a blessing. I really do.
Yeah. And, if you did take the medication, now you're having to go through the growth and learning process all over again to become a whole new freaking person just because you don't perceive things the same way anymore. But, on one hand, you'd be able to interact with everybody without any issues, right? But on the other hand, you'd almost lose your interaction with reality, right? Because your understanding of reality is different. So now, like you were talking about, it'd be like going from color TV to black and white TV. Everyone thought that was amazing until color TV came out. Now, like, how can I go back, right? But we're used to seeing the universe and thinking about reality in a certain way. To not really see or think that way anymore would be like, I got high one time and I saw these crazy visuals and now it's gone. I don't see it anymore.
Right. And it's interesting. And Britt asked, I got to go back because I thought this was a great question. Sorry, I want to pause real quick. She was asking if this is normal for every Friday. Is it like this all the time? Yes, it is like this all the time. And that's why it's called Freaky Friday, because we don't know what we're going to talk about, literally. I got like one or two things listed, and that's it. After that, it's wherever the hell we go, and you guys help guide that conversation. So, yeah. And that's what we want, Britt. We want to make it just like casual. You're sitting at home. Everything is fair game. And we'll talk about anything and everything. Because, there's a lot of people in this world with different perceptions, different views, different interests. And so we try to cover all of it. And the great thing is we have a good, diverse crew of people here in the gang, as I like to call us. And so the biggest thing is nobody's alone. And so if you're doing homework on a Friday night, like you are, Britt, hey, we'd love to have you hang out with us. You want to jump here on stage? Absolutely. Jump to the Discord. I'll send you a link. Biggest thing here is we want to make sure everybody has a home. That's it.
I could tell based on her comments that Britt would fit in great up here, just saying, and that we would all wind up down a rabbit hole talking about theory, quantum dimensions, and all that kind of stuff. It would be great.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And I have invited her a couple times because Brittany actually has her own YouTube channel on applying makeup and different things like that. And it kind of fell by the wayside, I think, a while back because I asked her several months if she wanted to get on here or something. And she always turned me down. But yeah, she just might do it. So you never know. One of these days, Britt might be one of our surprise guests.
Yeah, and it's been great having Wild Angel up here too, you know, taking part of the conversation, adding another layer of depth, because that's the thing, like there's so much out there to know, right? Nobody's going to know it all. So, you know, it's great to have a bunch of people together talking, because you can expand your knowledge on a topic that you're interested in, because someone's going to know something. There's an exercise, if any of you listening are teachers, especially of like college grade area, one of the best exercises you can do with your students is take everybody outside, or put everyone together into a circle of like 5 people. So circles of 5 people, and tell them, talk about what would be something that would be impactful for your life right now. Whether it's get that internship, get a car for the summer, or get a job. And what they do is they all go around and they talk about what it is that they would make an impact in their life. Nothing crazy, something attainable. And by the end of it, almost everyone has found what they need. Like someone's going abroad for the summer, and so they have a car that's not being used, you know, things like that, right? And if someone doesn't find it in their circle, take everyone from the circles that didn't find what they were looking for and then put them together. And usually by the end of it, the majority of everyone has found what they needed at that moment, you know? And it's like that with info, like that with hanging out with people, the more the better, right? Strength in numbers.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And
So
it's
can-
so cool. Go ahead. Cora.
Oh, go ahead.
I say it's so cool with the YouTube and doing streams, and with the community. We're not stuck into our local community.
Yes.
The world is our community now, and things can just progress so much bigger than they used to.
The world is shrinking through
Exactly.
technology.
Through technology. I love it. So going back to the whole DMT conversation, I feel like I need to put another couple 2 cents in. For me personally, like if Jim ended up taking that suppressing drug, it'd be so weird. I couldn't even imagine the conversations we would have, because I have great conversations with him. I mean, I talk to the man pretty much every night. Like every night we're gaming, we're talking about stuff. We're gaming and talking about life and everything, and it would be so weird if that changed at all, even a fraction. It wouldn't be him.
So subsequently, there's certain things you can take to enhance DMT. I believe they're called MAO inhibitors. And that will, you know, heighten the effects of DMT. Have any of you guys tried like DMT other than naturally
It is
occurring?
the most illegal substance, ironically. No, seriously.
DMT.
Really?
In drug classification,
Yeah.
DMT is classified as the most illegal. They don't want you to have it.
For sure. Yeah, well, people synthesize it. It's called NN-DMT, and, you know, it floats around.
I know a guy.
I don't think I can have any more than what I've got. I think I've got enough. And so, yeah, it's challenging. And at the same time, you know, kind of like what Wild Angel was saying, is absolutely, you know, just like everybody has said here, this is all about the community, like Bonk said. And our community is not limited. And that's one reason why we do Freaky Fridays, because we want to build the best community we can and know that everything goes. That's why we're here, because you know, it's all about keeping your shoes off, pouring a drink, having a cigarette, having a vape, whatever your choice is, you're accepting. And that's the most important thing, is to give everybody a place to go, whether you're autistic, whether you're not, whether you're young, whether you're old. Although, Brittany, you are not old. I hate to tell you, wherever message. Yeah, she was talking about old. Like, you are not old. Come on. I got kids your age.
I just want to ask you, Bonks, this real quick, and then please continue. You, Bonks, you said you've done DMT a few times. How did you enjoy being autistic for a bit?
Now, how was our life like? What did you think?
Oh, his comment's great.
Out of the world, entire perception split into. Hey, yep.
That's why I'm good at charts. I see the patterns in everything. I see it in people. I see it in the world around me. I see all of those fractal patterns. And that's what it's like.
I know Serenity keeps telling me I need to start looking at the charts because those are the kind of patterns that I see.
Ooh.
I don't necessarily see interpersonal, like people patterns, but you give me data and I can find that shit.
So
that's
you and
like
I need
my
to talk then.
Yeah, I just haven't had time, and picking up a second job, now I really don't have time. So I took Friday nights off so I can be here with you guys because that's important to me, is having this as an anchor, and my feet still in the door with Down Home Crypto. But it gives me that one dedicated evening. And I told them, fuck it, Sundays are mine. All day, no work, 1 day a week.
Well, hey, maybe on Sundays then hit me up, right? Because I think you would only need a little bit of guidance, right? Because going back to when I first started learning how to trade, right, and seeing the patterns in the charts, if I had had just a little bit of guidance, I would have saved myself about 8 years, right?
And I don't have emotion tied to it. I am very unemotional when it comes to data. That's probably partly why I can collect $114 million in taxes every year and not bat an eye.
Yep, because it's just data, it's just numbers, right? And so that's why I think with just a little bit of this is what this pattern can look like, this is how you trade it, I think you would be good to go, honestly.
Cool.
I could probably spend about 2 hours and get you started.
Serenity gets me confused.
Understandably. All love, all love, Serenity.
Yeah, I get it. Absolutely. It's not my forte.
It took me about 8 years to come up with my rule set based off of how to trade it. But now I can take that rule set and give it to somebody who can also see the patterns or whatnot, and they're good to go. They just follow the rule set.
Cool.
Right.
You have
And
to set up some time one Sunday.
Yes.
Absolutely. And that's my hardest thing is, as you and I have talked, Cyril, mine's all about the emotion. And so to me, it's like gambling. I haven't figured out how to do that. I could see it taking years for that. Where, like Wild Angel, I mean, her life is a bento box. It doesn't fit in this grid and apply to this rule. She doesn't do it or can't do it. Can't see beyond that. I'm just the opposite. I don't see anything fitting in a box. And that's the spectrum aspect. I'm always on the green state. So therefore, no rule applies perfectly in my mind. So for you to overcome that and come to a trading mindset, Cyril, that's impressive, brother.
Well, for me, I always struggled with the emotion, right? That was where my disconnect was, because that's the thing about autism spectrum disorder, right? It's everyone's perception is tuned differently. So whereas someone might not be able to talk, right, but they can draw amazing. You've got those with autism who are able to take a 5-minute helicopter flight over New York City and then redraw the skyline in perfect detail. Every window, you count the windows into the right amount, right? But it gets everyone differently. See, for you, you're good with the emotions. In fact, they're more intense. For me, I have that disconnect with the emotions, so I keep it more logical.
And I'm more on that side with you, Cyril. My emotions can be very big and very obnoxious when they happen. But for the most part, for the most part, I'm pretty detached. And I've always felt weird because of that. So, we've never figured out where the autism came from in my girls. So, maybe there's a little piece of it.
There might be.
The detachment. So.
There might very well be, and it's like when you have that detachment, but you do occasionally get those very strong emotions, right? It's difficult because you're not used to experiencing them. So it's that much more intense. And yes, Britt, I am what was once classified as Asperger's, which the reason why they no longer use that is because a Nazi doctor, Hans Asperger, is the one who came up with the classification of they're autistic, but they can still work on the railroad. Like that is the classification of mild autism, essentially.
That's crazy. And you might be somewhere on the spectrum. And like you and I have talked over the years and stuff. And for the longest time, just bring everybody up to speed, up until she met me, she thought music was just background noise. Didn't realize there was emotion to it, where I'm exactly the opposite. I can hear a piece of a song and burst into tears. The emotions just flow constantly. It's overflowing. But then during your back surgery just recently, Wild Age, you had the same problem where all of a sudden the emotions were just coming out and it's driving you insane. Like, how do I deal with this? Like, yeah, welcome to my world.
The only time I really feel emotions and understand what I'm feeling is when I'm listening to music. So there's a song called Breathe Music by Laura Brem. It's a very good song. I see you both writing it down. Breathe Music by Laura Brem. Spelled Brem like that in the comments.
2 N's? Oh,
Nope.
Got
gotcha.
it.
Yep. And the song is called Breathe Music. And when you listen to those lyrics, I want you to message me afterwards and just kind of tell me where your mindset is.
Absolutely.
Serenity, Sunday.
Got it.
I work
Sunday.
tomorrow, so we'll have to do it Sunday.
Okay. I'll write that down too. Sunday with Cyril. Got it. And that's the thing that I've been trying to tell Wild Angels is like, I've wanted to learn to trade since I got into crypto, but I haven't been able to figure it out. I haven't been able to separate my emotions and do the things like that. And even with your guidance, Cyril, I'm finding it very challenging because to me, it's just like a giant poker game. It's like walking in a casino. I know there's a ton of money to be made if I could follow the rules, if I could be logical, but I've never had that strength. And so that's why I was talking to Wild Angel for several months. And I was like, I think you should get into this and start learning this stuff. This is right up your alley. So thank you for
And the way
connection.
that he explains it to me is very scattered. It drives him nuts. I'm a very linear person. I'm an A, B, C, D. Serenity is A, Q, Z, J, and it all makes sense to him, and it doesn't for me. And so when he explains something to me, it is very difficult to follow his thought process because I'm extremely linear.
So Billy can confirm this, but literally like a couple of days ago when he was over here hanging out, I think it was last Saturday, or something. No, it was Tuesday. I don't remember. Irrelevant. We were talking, and I said, I figured out a while ago that in order to bring someone to becoming a successful trader, there is a very certain order I have to introduce concepts to them. Like they have to learn it in that order, otherwise it doesn't make sense. But as long as they learn it in that order and I teach it in that order, they'll be good. And I have had a 98% success rate getting people to become successful, profitable traders by just walking them through that particular process, and it takes about 2 hours to do.
Yep.
That's not long.
It drives Serenity crazy because when I try to get people to do things, I'm getting better. But it used to have to be step by step my way in order to make sure it was done correctly. Now I'm getting better and it doesn't have to be, but it's crazy.
It is. And that's something that, we've talked about, we fought over the years about is, if I give somebody a task, as long as it gets done in the proper way, the completed product is proper, then I don't care what steps they take. Use your own creativity. Find the best way for you. Lynn is very much the other way. It's like, no, you do this, then you do this, then you do this, then you do this. If you do it differently, it's wrong. Game over. You're done.
Because the way that we do it is the most efficient possible way to do it.
Right. Efficiency. That's the word. Everyone's got a million different ways to do things, but like I'm not gonna let you sit there and like do it so inefficiently where I know that like I could do it in a quarter of the time. It's like, no, dude, like you're gonna try my way and you're gonna get a little better at my way, you know, but that's efficiency. But I mean, certain things aren't like critical, you know, like, and you just let people figure it out like a child going to school, you know, like you don't push that. They have to learn their own way.
Like,
But
dude,
at a certain point, like, okay, now you're gonna try this.
like, dude. So there was this guy, because you know, you guys know I run a painting renovation business IRL, right? But here's the thing: there was this guy that I was working with who had been a painter for like 40 years. He was an older guy, and he hates painting French doors, right? Because you got all those little strips of wood and everything like that. And he's like, it takes forever to cut all that in without getting it all over the glass, right? And taping all the panes off just takes way too long, and you look like an amateur if you're taping it off, right? So I was like, I'll do them. I don't care. He walks by, and I'm sitting there taking one of my wide spackle blades, shoving it under the wood, splatting my brush, dragging it across, wiping my blade off, doing it like that. And he was like, his mind was blown. He was like, do that?
See, that's
so
something
much
I would
work.
do now that I know that a tool exists.
Yep, because it's the most efficient way to do it. It's the fastest. It gets the job done, and you're doing a French door, which, by the way, painting companies charge about $120 to $150 to paint both sides, and you're doing a door in 10 minutes, right? It's great.
There you go. And I agree. Efficiency is key. And that's one of those things. I think I have a gift for that, finding the quickest, most efficient way. And I always train people that way. But I always give them a little bit of freedom to say, okay, let's try it with you. Well, you think you're that good? As long as you do A, B, and C, I don't care if you do the rest of the alphabet. You find your way. And then I'll race them. And I used to do that at work all the time. You can ask Crow, building ceiling fans and stuff. I would race anybody. It's like, okay, we put 3 ceiling fans down. I guarantee I will be done with mine before. I don't care how you do it. But after we're done, you will do it my way. And afterwards, I'm like, oh, shit. And yeah, I never lost. It didn't happen. And, Brett, by the way, yes. How dare I invite someone with people who write music and talk about theoretical physics? Yes, I'm in trouble. And you can call me Jimmy. Everybody knows I'm Jim Long. Boy Shadow. Yeah, totally docs. No problem there, dear. But yeah, I'm glad you joined us. This has been great. There's like this whole side conversation going on over there on the side. It's like, wow, I can keep track.
I like being able to actually see all of the comments, because when I'm in, like, sitting where Brittany's at off stage, I can't see every comment that comes through. It's only the top comments, and I can't change it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
On
I showed it.
YouTube.com?
Yes.
That's gotta be a setting.
I have shown Serenity that I can't see. I get like 1 in 10.
Right. I've had my phone do that too, though, from time to time. Like when I'm watching Yabongsa streams.
I've tried that, Britt. It didn't work.
I'll see the same thing. So I'll have to check that. I'll dig into that a little bit more.
Oh, so that's like the mobile app.
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah.
might be.
Yeah, YouTube.com, like from a Chrome browser or something, like if you just load it from the browser, it should fix that if you're having that issue. That's what I would try instead of using the app. But it's going to be hard to trick your phone into like loading YouTube in the Chrome browser, because it's just going to, oh, you want to use YouTube? Well, you want to use the
Even on
app.
my Chromebook.
Really?
It does the same thing, yes.
That's because Chromebooks operate off the mobile version of the website.
Oh, okay.
So it's the mobile version of the website. If you go up to the URL bar and you backspace and remove the M dot in front of youtube.com, you can force it over to the desktop version of the site.
Nice.
Okay, I'll try it.
There you go. And Bunk says the settings show all comments instead of top comments. Okay, so Alex saying, yeah, there is a setting. It's frustrating though. Okay, so we'll have to look that up, because yeah, I thought it was just me. I didn't realize there was a setting. So
Same
we'll give
thing
that a shot.
happens when I'm watching the Yabonk show tonight. I'd go 5 minutes without seeing a comment come through.
I can't use YouTube app on my phone. I broke it with my ad blocking settings, doing like DNS blocks, but I don't see any ads on YouTube from my desktop, like zero, just instant video all the time. So that's my trade-off. Broke the mobile app, don't have any ads on desktop.
Hey, Britt, you'd have to ask Serenity if I think I do have actual account. Yeah.
Yeah, you do. It's your Wild Angel account. So, guys, we've actually gone a little longer than normal here. So, what do we think so far? Ready to get some food, or we want to keep going?
The enchiladas smell really, really good. I can smell them at the other end of the house.
That's pretty good.
So,
Well, what you need to do is you need to make sure that everyone we've been chatting with is in the Down Home Crypto Discord, right?
Yes.
So
Good call.
post the link. Remind them to like the video and subscribe if they haven't. Like I love you, Serenity, but you're terrible at YouTube.
I haven't gotten there yet. I didn't know if you guys want to keep going yet. I didn't want to just shut you down. If you want to keep going, I'll keep going.
Yeah, where we all the likes.
Well, it's make sure that everyone we've been chatting with here in the comments is in the Discord. That way we can keep chatting, or hanging out and talking about cool concepts and topics, in a more one-on-one setting,
There you go.
Yeah, or brainstorm something to talk about next Friday too.
there we go.
Ooh.
Yep.
And just a reminder, anybody's pretty much welcome up here if you want to come up. I do audio only right now, so I can pick my nose and nobody knows. You can cheat like me if you want.
Absolutely. So if we're going to wrap this up, guys. So, yes, as Cyril reminded me, I was waiting because I didn't want to just cut everybody off because we're having a great chat. I mean, I'm having a ball. I could be here for another couple hours. But I know that...
hungry.
We haven't...
I fed him earlier, though.
Right, yeah.
Hot sauce. What do you got?
You have hot sauce? That's good enough. Okay. So, yes, guys, everybody out there, thank you for tuning in tonight. And as always, the only thing I ever ask is do me a huge favor. Take a moment, like the video, subscribe to the channel, check back on a regular basis, and hop in the Discord. All these people were there. We're always there to talk about anything. And yes, Yabonks, we're so close. 946 subscribers. We're getting there. Thank you.
Something. Yeah, I'm like pointing at the screen. Yabonks, you need to get with Serenity about that Twitter thing because you were saying you being on Twitter and cross-posting or doing something with Twitter jacked your subscribers through the roof. Get with him, please. We could use a boost.
Yes, please.
There.
I've been trying for my side.
Absolutely, yes. And as you guys know, the whole goal we're trying to, and we started this journey about a year ago. In fact, December 21st of last year, I quit my full-time job to do this full-time with the belief that I could get to that 1,000 subscribers, get monetized, and hopefully start getting paid with this. And I want to give a huge shout out to Wild Angel, who actually took a second job to help pay for all the content, for the subscriptions, to run the servers, to run StreamYard, and all the things like that. Thank you, love, for all your support and all your help. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in and watching, because this is why we're here. And you guys can really help make this happen. So thank you for everybody who always shows up. And guys and gals on the stage, thank you for always being here and make this such an amazing event.
I appreciate all the support from all of you guys, because this has not been easy. There's been some hair pulling out. Well, as you can see, he's bald.
I lost it all.
and she's the one who pulled it all out, right?
Right, exactly, yeah. Like, what do you mean you're
signed up for what? How much?
You quit your job?
No, actually, I was good with that. I was more like another subscription. How much more do I have to pay?
All right.
So, thanks, you bonks. I think you're pretty cool too, and you're a great mentor.
Absolutely, and yes, guys, if you have not subscribed to Yabonks, you haven't heard about him, runs an animal sanctuary down in Florida. He is my mentor. He's actually kind of one who said, "Yeah, you can do this. I have faith in you. Go for it." And yeah, he was kind of that push off the cliff it took me to quit my job and do this full time. So thank you, brother, for always being there, always being an amazing mentor, supporter, and just a great friend. Really appreciate it. Just do Brazilian on the side for extra money. And it gets crazy. So now we know where Serenity's hair went. Yes, we do. And no, I just want to say, guys and gals, thank you so much. I know there's a lot of places you can be on a Friday night. Thanks for being a part of our family and our community, spending it with us. Always makes it a great time.
Absolutely.
100%.
Hey,
It's
well,
been fun
guys,
to be up here. Thank you, guys.
absolutely. You going to be here
Thanks for
next week, Wild Angel? What do you think?
I'll be right here with you. I'm either whether I'm on camera or off. I've been here every week.
That she has. Never missed a show yet. So thank you, Bonks. You're a
Yeah,
great friend,
yeah.
brother.
That's the thing, behind, all the hard work that all of us guys are out here doing, we're able to do what we do the way that we do it because we got fucking awesome women behind us, beside us, like my
Hi,
wife.
Rose.
She's not in here at the moment. She might be listening in. I did give her a little bit too large of a gummy piece, I think. So she might be asleep. I don't know. I'll know shortly. But she's been a massive supporter, of everything I've tried to do, and she's put up with a lot,
Absolutely. And I got to reiterate that one more time. I couldn't do anything that I do if it weren't for Wild Angel and Crow, Cyril, BTK, Bonks, everybody who supports. And some people do it physically, some people do it financially, others do it by being here. You guys, gals who are watching this, whether it's live or on the restream, you are making a difference. So thank you. Thank you so very much. Yeah. And with that, are we ready to go get some food, boys and girls? What do you guys think?
I got
Come
the
back
munchies.
next week, Britt.
What are we eating?
Enchiladas. Homemade enchiladas.
Right. And what kind of hot sauce you got with them?
Let them go
they're
eat.
mild because around here tummies don't work so well
Oof.
if it's spicy.
I'm a wuss.
Me
Uh-oh.
too. I end up with heartburn so bad.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
That's okay. Enjoy.
Okay. You can bring your own hot sauce, though. You're welcome.
Yeah.
So, everyone, thank you so much for coming out tonight. Have a great weekend. Be safe, and we will catch everybody next week.
Later.
Bye, guys.
Boy!